being involved in your office, being involved at CREB, be involved with your community, be involved with your clients. I mean, that's what I think is the best part of this industry.
Welcome to Krebcast. Today we are joined by Mathew Said Morley. Welcome, Mathew. Thank you for joining us. I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you sitting down with us. Mathew is also the recipient of the 2024 Realtor of the Year Award. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
We just wanted to have some of our members come and sit down with us, just have a casual chat, see how real estate has treated you, see if you have any advice for any of the people that are coming in, and what real estate has done for you as far as your life is concerned. So I'll start off by asking you how long you've been in the business and how you got here.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, you know me very well, so
I do.
I'm sure we can burn an hour just
absolutely
making some small talk. So so I got licensed when I was 23. So April will actually be my 20-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's been an incredible journey of growth and inspiration and, trying times and exciting times. So,
Yes.
but April will be 20 years.
Wow. Were you always interested in getting into real estate, or was it something that came later? How did you become a realtor?
My intention through my upbringing and, my younger years of life was to become a firefighter. I always, aspired to give back to the community, to be involved on a hands-on level.
Yes.
And so I was actually in the process of training and going through some programs in order to become a Calgary firefighter. When I was 21, my cardiologist realized that I had an unexpected heart issue.
Oh, my.
Now, I was born with heart issues, but this was one that, wasn't anticipated. And so I had an aortic aneurysm that was found. And so I had to deviate from my original plans of being a firefighter. And so that was a challenging time for me. I, went through a variety of different stages, frustration and anger and disappointment. And, through all that, decided to get my real estate license as a bit of a crutch, as a bit of a pause for me to kind of get my bearings, to get an understanding of, what my goals were for life.
Right.
And navigate from there.
Right.
And 20 years later, it's turned into a beautiful and, an incredible career for me. So, yeah.
And we're lucky to have you in the industry
I
because
appreciate it.
you are a beacon of light. And like you said earlier, we do know each other. We're friends. And so I know all the great things that you do. I'm surprised that you can't carry on a fireman career when you have this kind of a heart defect. Is it just dangerous to be in that line of business?
It wasn't a decision that I made.
Right.
I even looked into the military. Like I was heavily committed to, that type of career path. It's a liability.
Right.
And in fairness, for someone else to be depending on you and you have any underlying health conditions wouldn't be fair to that individual that's depending on you to essentially save their life.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have always wanted to be of service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, you were the recipient of the Realtor of the Year Award. I think there is a misconception out there that award is given out because of your productivity. It is absolutely not based on productivity at all. So I just want to mention that it is an award that is dedicated to your service as in the community and in the real estate industry and your dedication to just being of service. I know I keep repeating that, but that is fundamentally, that's what the award is for.
Yeah.
And I know that you do a lot of things in the community. You do a lot of things that involve the industry. One of the things that I want to talk about, Mathew, is the Coats for Calgary.
Yeah.
It's an initiative that you thought of. I'm not sure about how many years ago. One thing I can tell you is I'm so proud of you. This year especially, because I was out, at Christmas time, going out to various restaurants and I saw these posters for Coats for Calgary, and I was like, well, this is Matt. This is my friend Matthew that is in charge of this initiative. I was so proud to tell people that I knew you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So I can you talk a little bit about that and how that came about?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so through this journey of trying to get on the fire department, volunteerism and community impact is a large component for your application process. I had always been involved previous to that, but I had elevated my involvement, in order to ensure that when I did apply, I had checked a lot of the boxes. I actually got a job at the Foothills Hospital during that period of time so that I had more, hands-on training and exposure to kind of the medical system. And so during that same time, I was volunteering at the Children's Hospital. I was volunteering at the Calgary Food Bank. And this would have been, probably around 2008 to 2010.
Right.
And so I founded Coats for Calgary in 2010, following my exposure to the Calgary Food Bank and coming to the realization that a lot of families have to make the hard choice between warm clothing and food. And I can remember to the day when I had a conversation with some of the staff there, where I was asking these questions, like, it's minus 30 out and all these people are coming in t-shirts, like, is this common? Like, what is this all about?
Right.
And that's when I realized that I wanted to take the initiative to try and create change. Now, looking back, I don't think I quite understood the snowball effect that was going to take place.
Right.
Our first year, we collected something like 500 jackets, which was massive.
Wow.
Last year, we collected over 8,000. So in 15 years, we went from, this being kind of a personal initiative where I was leaning on contacts that I had through real estate, colleagues, different brokerages to collect essentially a car full of jackets. And last year we had over 55 locations throughout the city.
Wow.
We were able to collect, I think something like $15,000 cash, which we're also able to support, Calgary's less fortunate. And so it's really just kind of, with great people like you, great people like Kreb, Remax First, that's, supported and spearheaded a lot of our initiatives. So it's been a collective group effort that I've had the privilege of kind of overseeing and spearheading. So, yeah.
When you said that number 8,000, I automatically sprang tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
Because, wow, like what a great initiative. For one person to take it on, and you start off with 500 in the first year, even that is amazing.
Yeah.
And I know that you were, hauling these coats yourself, getting your friends to pack them in your cars and all of the, in their cars. And I think this year you were able to actually rent a van. Or a few vans?
So what we've done is we've collaborated with the Calgary Drop-In Center.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just speak quickly on that, if that's okay.
Please do.
So the reason that we chose the Calgary Drop-In Center is because they support over 240 different agencies.
Wow.
So they are almost like the initial stone in the fundamental works of supporting less fortunate. And because of that, we wanted to support them. There's nothing that I have against other organizations.
Right.
There are great organizations like the Mustard Seed and, other great organizations that I won't list. But the nice thing with the Calgary Drop-In Center is that they support all of these other organizations, no questions asked.
Right.
They also will make use of all of the jackets that we donate.
Right.
So other organizations, if they're not usable, they will get thrown away or recycled.
Right.
The Calgary Drop-In Center has the ability to repair the jackets, and they also have the ability to get paid per pound for our donations that need to be recycled.
Oh,
so literally, there is no waste.
That is good to know.
And so the support component and the no waste component was a huge factor in my decision-making process. Of the 15 years that we've been operating, 13 of the years, we got volunteers to bring jackets to Remax First for us to load a U-Haul. And then I would physically drive the U-Haul, to the Calgary Drop-In Center. We would unload it.
Right.
It was like this really inspiring, enjoyable thing. My son Atticus and last year Ivy came with me. They get exposure to being involved in giving back to the community, seeing the impact in real time. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But for the first 13 years, it's been a big undertaking.
Yeah.
And, for the first 10 years, I would drive around with the U-Haul to all of our locations, collect the jackets, load the U-Haul, and then deliver them directly to the Calgary Drop-In Center.
Wow.
And, it was challenging, But at the end of the day, when you're unloading that truck, I mean, it's just all smiles.
No, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Just a few little bit of a box that we fill here at Krebs. Every morning when I come in and I see more jackets in there, I'm just like, yes.
Oh, it feels good.
It feels so great. So having 8,000, knowing that you're going to be making a difference in somebody's life, it just must feel so fantastic.
Yeah.
And talking about the drop-in center, the fact that they work with so many different organizations feels like it's far-reaching. So not only are you working just with the drop-in center, but you're working with so many other organizations that you probably aren't even aware of.
Totally.
So that's fantastic. You're a great example.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're very supportive. I personally know that I can give you a call anytime I need a pick-me-up, and I'm like, you know what, I'm down in the dumps. I just need like some mat advice, and you're right there, and you always answer the phone. You're just a really great guy.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Atticus and Ivy, I know that you're instilling volunteerism and kindness in them already, because I think you've shared with me that you tell them every day that they have to, if they see somebody that's not happy or somebody that maybe just needs, attaboy, you've already told them that, every day you're going to ask them, what did you do to make somebody's life better today?
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I hope everybody does that. As an adult, I think we could probably do that too. Just see somebody who's down and out that just may need an attaboy, and that make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Would you say that real estate has really changed in the last 20 years for you? Because I know when you've been in the business for a while, with the change of like social media and all of the things that go on with technology, it's really taken a turn. And I know that you're always on the cusp of those kinds of things. Are you finding the change is drastic, or could you talk about that a little bit, about what you've seen in the last 20 years?
Yes, there has been a massive evolution and some dramatic changes in the industry in respect to tools.
Yes.
And our ability to provide elevated service or communication with our clients. There's no denying that. As I was sharing with your previous guest when I got here, I do feel that some of these things can still be a massive distraction, like they can in life.
Yes. Yes.
And so the big thing for me that I've built my business on is that service is at the forefront.
Right.
Communication, empathy, truly just working on behalf of our clients in order to ensure that their needs are being met.
Right.
At the end of the day, having a thriving Instagram account isn't necessarily going to achieve that.
Right.
Can I take a listing and get more exposure using these platforms and potentially generate more interest or potentially generate more inquiries, which in turn can convert to more showings?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm not naive enough to think that these tools are anything more than that.
Right.
So I think that's just the biggest thing with a lot of the agents that I mentor.
Yes.
That I try and ensure that they understand.
Yeah.
Like, do we need all these things in order to stack up what I call pillars? So to have a variety of pillars in the community with our clients, exposure, communication, accessibility, marketing, advertising, all those things, yes.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if we don't serve our clients, with compassion and love and, with genuine nature, where we are trying to help them achieve this beautiful goal of providing them shelter and opportunity to grow wealth for their children and generations on and on, none of those other things matter.
Exactly.
So I think it's a combination of everything all at the same time.
Yes.
If you're capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in face-to-face.
Yeah.
And growing those relationships through sympathy and empathy. So I think that what you're saying really speaks to me. And yes, technology definitely is helpful, but it isn't the be-all and end-all of everything.
Yeah, and I mean, in a lot of ways, I think some people feel that it's a replacement.
Yes.
And you cannot replace having a conversation with a person like we're doing today.
Right.
We could have done this over video.
Right.
From my home or from my office, with you here.
Yeah.
The energy is different.
Exactly.
The experience is different.
Yeah.
And so why would we ever, implement that into the greatest transaction of someone's life?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
It does not.
So to use those tools in order to make the process maybe a little smoother or a little bit, less stressful or more convenient.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But there's a time and a place.
As long as we're using them as tools
Absolutely.
to enhance what we're doing.
Yeah.
I know your father is in the business, Camille Morley, another great guy. Was that one of your influences of going into real estate and just kind of taking that pause and working with Dad for a little while until I get my bearings, or was it just an independent decision?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that I saw the opportunities that he had.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me knows that I have a very different personality, and I have
Absolutely.
a very, very particular path.
Yes.
So I would never want to take anything away from the fact that there was some inspiration there. There totally was.
Yes.
But it was unique in the sense that I saw the opportunity in the industry for me to get the things that I was lacking due to not being able to become a firefighter.
Yeah.
But then saw the opportunity for growth in a completely different direction.
Right.
So collectively, there was pieces from a variety of different places, and there was definitely a big piece that came from there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we're glad that pause turned into what it is today.
well, thank you.
We're happy to have you. With the new realtors that are coming into the market today and just starting off their career, would you have any advice that you would share with them?
I think this is probably more of a global issue, or kind of an issue that our world is going through today, not particularly with our industry. But I think everything has just become way too monetary focused, way too transactional. The smallest amount of work for the greatest gain. If you watch a lot of these guys on Instagram and stuff like that, trying to inspire others, to get the highest ROI with the smallest amount of effort. We belong to an industry where that can never apply.
Right.
And I think that's the most beautiful part about our industry, is that we have this emotional component to what we do.
Yeah.
It should never be purely transactional. And so I think the new agents that come in, I'm a younger guy, I'm 42, but I've been doing this for 20 years. And so a lot of young agents come into our office and say, I want to do what you're doing. I want to do the same volume that you're doing. And I'm fortunate enough that I've built a really successful business, but it took 20 years.
Yes.
And the goal was every year to just have the compound effect, just like the gym,
Yes.
just like a marathon runner.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to win my first race,
Right.
but I want to train and discipline myself to get to a stage where I can perform at that high level and have some victories, right? And so I think a lot of the younger agents today, they see guys pulling up in beautiful cars, they see them living in beautiful houses, and they forget that, that came with sacrifice,
Yeah, exactly.
came with a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging and I'm not, condemning people, but, there's a process, and I think when we cut corners in order to just have worldly possessions or, accolades, we lose the real purpose of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we focus on those things, we can actually be very successful, while, putting people first.
Yeah. And I think your clients can pick up on it
Yeah.
when you're being genuine, or if you're just in it for the monetary part of it.
I think so.
I think people are more intuitive than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
You've done some volunteering at CREB. We've been fortunate enough to have you on some committees, especially the Critical Illness Benefit Committee. What would you encourage members to get involved with volunteering at CREB? Why would you tell them to get involved?
Back to my comment about some of the guys that I mentor, I think being involved in the community, period, is a must.
Yes.
I think that my whole life is based off of gratitude. I start my day by planting my feet on the ground and just being grateful that I woke up.
Yes.
And I know it might sound a little bit extreme, and my background with health has a big piece of that. But I think when we have that mindset in everything that we do, the way we treat others and the way that we support our community and the way that we're involved changes. And it may not happen overnight, but it does. That's just the reality of it. And so I think being involved with your colleagues, giving back, feeling like you are part of something, it does a lot for us.
Yes.
It does a lot for our spirit. It does a lot for our subconscious. It does a lot for our energy. You and I wouldn't be friends. I wouldn't have the same career I do. I wouldn't have the same, key components of gratitude and certain elements of my energy if I didn't do all of these different things.
Right.
I know that for a fact. And that's why I have to push myself to continue to do those things,
Yeah.
because that's the person I want to be.
Right.
So I think for new industry members, or even industry members that have been around for a while, I don't think it's as small as just popping in every once in a while. I think there's greater aspects that come from being involved in those types of things. Yeah. Sense of community, sense of involvement, all that kind of stuff. So,
and I feel the networking part is really helpful when you're be involved with some CREB things, because you might meet people that normally you wouldn't meet.
Totally.
Because usually you're just meeting somebody in a transaction, or maybe somebody who's part of your brokerage. But when you come to CREB and you're part of a committee, you're doing, like you said, you're doing important work, but then you get to meet other people that have that same passion and those same feelings of empathy and sympathy that you do, and they're doing the same kind of work.
Yeah, and it's inspiring too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, having conversations like today reminds me of all the reasons why I do the things that I do. And if we don't have those opportunities, time passes, we start to get a little bit stale. Maybe we forget, what inspires us, what motivates us. And that's the most beautiful thing about life.
Yes.
So being involved in your office, being involved at CREB, be involved with your community, be involved with your clients.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I think is the best part of this industry.
Yeah, it really is. And all the friends that you make along the way.
Yeah.
I was, as you had mentioned, I had a interview with Horace Rowe before you came in, and he's been in the business for 47 years, and he was talking about generational relationships. So now he's working with fourth generation family members, and how heartwarming is that?
Totally.
You'll get there one day. You're just too young to get into that fourth generation yet.
But what a privilege.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And when you're not transactional and you're in it for the right reasons,
yes,
you get a small piece of that. And selfishly, it goes beyond a paycheck.
Right.
You can look back in the later years of your life and be like, I had a little piece of those people's journey, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean,
absolutely.
There's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah.
It's very cheesy, but I'm okay with that.
No, I think that it's great. It's the biggest decision that they're going to make in their lives, and you're a part of that. And like you said, you said you're a little piece of that part, but I think that it's a bigger piece of that, because that relationship continues. I've had lots of members that say, I just went to a client's daughter's wedding, or I just came back from a baptism or something. So you actually become family.
Totally.
During these times.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to chat about? It's been fun talking. I could sit here and talk to you for an hour, for longer than an hour. But was there anything that I missed that you would like to touch on?
I think I would just encourage everyone to just keep forging ahead. We all go through our challenging times. Yeah. And I think sometimes, I had this conversation with my brother yesterday, being the recipient of the T.W.H. Bill Saunders, Realtor of the Year Award. I've had a few people approach me and say wow, that's so incredible. And I wish, or I hope. And the reality is we all have the ability to achieve, things beyond our wildest dreams.
Yes.
And so I think if we just work hard and we treat people with love and kindness, and, we do things the right way, we'll get to a place that we never thought was imaginable, right?
Well, they say what you put out into the universe comes right back to you. And I think that we see evidence in that every day if we're open to seeing it. Yeah. And you do walk through the world in gratitude.
I do.
That's not just something that you say. That's something that I witness since I've known you for the last 20 years, since you've been in the business. So I'm grateful to have you in my life. And thank you for coming in. And I know you have a busy schedule, so I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, well, I'm humbled that you wanted to have a conversation, and I appreciate you as a friend and also for today. So
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching today's episode of CREBcast. If you would like to join us and come and have a conversation, we would love to have you.